Hello, and welcome to the Talking Fever. This is a podcast about me, about you, about all of our feelings, our experiences, about being a human being, and all the things that we connect on. It's about life. It's about getting through life, and it's about reflecting. So that process can be a little easier with a little more acceptance and a little less resistance. So thanks for joining me. And today we're going to talk about being in between chapters, being in between phases of life, and being able to let go of the last chapter so you can move into the next. So let's go. I think people change, grow, evolve, and go through seasons of life, just like how anything else on this planet does. And I think one of the worst things to happen to our psychology as humans is that we've taken ourselves so far outside of nature and natural rhythms and whatnot, you know. We are conscious, which is great, but we are animals just as much as any other living creature is on this planet. And we are not in sync with the rest of the world. We are just not. I think that causes a lot of problems. So I think we may have forgotten throughout time that just like how the weather changes and how certain animals move throughout the seasons or decide to hibernate, there are points in our life where things don't move, where things don't grow, you know, like the winter. Where we need to rest, where we need to pause and reflect, you know, where we need to clean out, clear out, and prepare so that when our spring comes, we can plant those seeds, you know, the right seeds for the next chapter, for the next harvest, we'll say. And that's where I've been. I have been in this stuck kind of energy, but it's not stuck, it's paused. And it's paused for a good reason. It's paused because last year, a very cataclysmic, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. That happened in my life. It was a breakup with somebody that I loved. And I think relationships are the biggest catalyst for change because truly the world and anything in it comes from people, you know, comes from our relationships with people. You lose a job, it's not the job, it's the person that fired you, right? You lose a partner, it's y'all broke up. So change happens interpersonally, I think most of the time. if it's not like naturally caused by the earth, it's a person probably, right? Comes down to it. So yes, that relationship, and I equally did this to them, was a huge catalyst for change. And I think we mirrored our like biggest triggers to each other, our greatest insecurities, our worst fears. It was intense, you know, and at least I know from my experience that my last partner really made me face, just from coexisting together, things that I wasn't, you know, and I was challenged in a lot of areas. So by the end of our relationship, I had realized, because the end of our relationship was a huge trigger for me, which was betrayal, made me self-realize, which is something that I desperately needed. I have always been very unsure of myself. I've been very insecure, but there's always been this like confident person kind of hiding inside of me, you know, this self-assured person that I felt like couldn't come out because I felt the world would hate that person. You know what I mean? This is for the people pleasers. You probably understand. You feel like you can't be yourself because probably throughout your entire life so far, every time you've tried to express your true self, your honesty, whatever, it's been denied or rejected. So you start to feel like that's wrong. And you suppress that person because your environment, the people in it, it's the people, are telling you that it's wrong. They're making you feel like it's wrong and that it does a bad thing. You know, it hurts people. And, you know, I'd say you have to self-assess what your actions are, because we are all capable of genuinely hurting people. We have bad coping mechanisms. You know, we can lash out, we can be angry, we can be manipulative, vengeful. We can do things that are genuinely hurtful, and that's not your truth, by the way. That's an emotional reaction. But if you've experienced that, you don't know how to trust yourself, and you don't know how to express yourself confidently and feel like that person is deserving of love. So after the end of that relationship, it made me realize in the craziest of ways how great I am as a person. And by that I mean I'm great because I am super honest, as honest as I can possibly be to the best of my knowledge. I'm very straightforward. I try every challenge that my ex-boyfriend gave me. I tried so hard, you know, like I put my ego down, and my ego was triggered here, all over the place. I put that shit down so I could try to be better, do better, be more accountable, be more responsible, have better self-esteem, things like that. And I just tried, you know, I just tried and put in so much effort. And by the end, it proved to me who I was, who I really was. You know, it proved to me all the things that I can do. It proved to me how much I have to give to somebody, genuinely, how much I have to give to others in general, how much I have to give the world, you know, how valuable that is. And after that, it's been a struggle, It's been a challenge. And it's been almost a year now. It's a few months off of a year. But after leaving, I had to move back to my home state, which is where I am now, because we live somewhere else. And I was just faced with challenges immediately that really took up my mental space, took up my emotional space, and I couldn't afford to think about him and our relationship, because this is something that y'all might relate to as well. And this is just a phenomenon. When you don't have the resources you need, when you're in survival mode, you don't have the time to self-analyze, to reflect, to self-therapize. You don't. You're worried about surviving. You're worried about making enough money. You're worried about putting food on the table. You're worried about just being able to get through your daily tasks that you have to do. And sometimes those can be so overwhelming and so stressful that you just don't have the time or the energy to do anything more than that. To think about your feelings, to understand why you do what you do. And that's where a lot of people are in this world, truthfully. Especially the older you are, if you have children, parents, everybody has trauma because of their parents. And it's because your parents were trying to survive. If they were in your life, your parents were trying to survive and they were trying to keep you alive. And they didn't have time to deal with their trauma. So they did their best, which was probably just to keep working, put food on the table, and that's enough. And whatever else happened isn't important. Probably not to them, right? But that's not because it isn't important, because they don't even know how to do that. They have never had time, and I'm sure with their parents, it could have been so much worse, I know in my experience, in my family, my parents have experienced so much trauma, and their experience with their parents was even worse. So from a perspective like that, they're always going to think that they're doing better, and they did better than their parents, and they're doing their best. But anyways, that's besides the point. But it is the point, is when you're trying to survive and get your basic needs, you can't go up that little triangle of self-enlightenment. It's a privilege to have that space and the time to do so. And that's a wage gap issue. And that's a different conversation. Anywho. So, almost a year later, I'm processing these emotions and these feelings now. And there have been other challenges not related to my relationship that have reinforced, really tested the things that I learned from that relationship. They've tested my resilience. They've tested my self-belief. They've tested my work ethic. They tested it. The fuck out of it. But I think I passed the test. Just gonna say. But I'm here now. I don't have a job. Working has been such a struggle. I don't know about anybody else. Everybody says nobody wants to work because COVID changed everybody's minds, but girl can't get a fucking job. So where are all the jobs that are in need of people that won't hire me? Is anybody else experiencing this? Because it's getting to be about that time that I need a job. You know what I mean? But here I I'm processing things finally because I have the time now, and I got the time in the summer. And I've been able to have a few conversations with my ex, and it sucks when you feel so connected to somebody, you know? When you feel like y'all mirror each other perfectly, like truly complement each other. Feeling like you can be yourself, yourself maybe you didn't even know. You know, I know in my experience, that confident person that is always hiding was so free in that relationship. It's like losing a best friend, you know? And with our few talks, I've slowly gotten more honesty out of them because they've also started therapy, which is amazing, you know, because we're all human beings and we all have our own shit that we need to process. And he's finally doing that. I'm really happy for him. But every time we speak, you know, I get a little bit more honesty, and the truth is so important. You can't do anything real in your life without the truth. Truthfully, you need the truth to do anything real, or else you're just going to be living a lie. And I know that is simple, but that's the truth. You know, if you're basing your decisions and your feelings, your actions off of lies, here's the lie. This is an imaginary space. It's a lie. It's not real. It's not what's really going on. It's a veil, a pretty image painted over what's actually happening underneath. And you're stepping into that reality, and you got your pen or your paintbrush, and you're adding more onto it. When you find out the truth, that foundation that you built, you drew all your little extras on, it's going to be erased. And then all the things that were built on top of that, drawn on top of that, they have nothing to stand on. They're just going to fall and crumble. There's nothing really there, you know? And in acknowledging the truth, you have to acknowledge hard things. And one of those hard things is that, for me, as much as I love this person, and I want to think that we could be together one day, I can't hold on to that. And he has no place in my life right now. Truthfully, he does not fit in right here, right now. And I don't know if we'll catch up on the other side. I don't know. And trust me, I have cried about it. I have been sad. Ooh, it's been hard. And as much as we've come to good terms, and there has been a lot of truth spoken, it hasn't even been a year. And you know, there's still so much that both of us need to do if we were ever to be truly aligned and compatible for each other in this life. And we're still, I think, both holding on to each other a little bit. And the kind of shit part of that is neither of us can fully move on into our lives and experience it presently, fully, genuinely, if either of us are still holding on to each other. You know, as much as I miss him, as much as he may miss me, as much as I want to keep up with him and talk to him, he's got to grow on his own. He's got to let go of me so he can figure out if he even genuinely really wants me. You know what I mean? And I gotta do the same. And that's hard to do. That's hard to do. It's hard to let go. There's so much fear that comes up that you're gonna lose this forever if you let it go. But I think when you really love somebody, you don't just want them, you don't just want to keep them in a little box, you know, you don't want to own them, you don't want to put your name on them, you know, keep them to yourself. When you really love somebody, you love them. You love them, you want them to live their life. You want them to grow, you want them to be happy. Whatever that means. If that means that's not with you. Ow, right? Ow. But that's the truth. You love them almost like a child. This unconditional love that you would have for a child, for your child. You love them, but you can't own them. You can't force them to be just like you, to grow up like you, to learn and understand things like you. You can't force them to live like you, to like the people that you like, or to date the kind of person you want them to. You know, you can't force them to live where you want them to live. You love your child, you let them go, and you be happy for them. You just want happiness for them, right? I think that's just what it is to love anybody, you know, unconditionally. When somebody makes a mistake, you can feel your feelings, and you need to be honest about that. And that's something that we had to talk about, because I had to honor all of my feelings and how being in that relationship and certain things that happened made me how I felt about myself. Certain things that he did that weren't okay with me, that hurt me, that didn't help me. And as an empathetic person, and you maybe relate to this too, you can have so much empathy for the pain of others. You can understand why they do the things that they do. But those people can also hurt you. And you can feel stuck, so stuck in between having so much empathy for them and understanding and feeling like you need to understand and having empathy for yourself and how those people have affected you. How their actions, even though you understand where they come from and it hurts you and you wish they could see it, you still gotta honor yourself, you know? You gotta honor your feelings, how their actions affected you, wherever they came from, you know? So we had to have a conversation, but a fair one, that honored my feelings, his feelings, and have empathy for each other. And we were honest with each other. He was really honest with me, which I needed, because that was one of our issues. And after that, I had to be honest that this person, as much as I love them and wish and hope that we could meet on the other side of this, I can't be in this person's life, and this person can't be in my life right now, because I'm not what they need, and they're not what I need. And if I don't let it go, I can't move forward. Not fully, not completely. I can't allow myself to love somebody else. And that's almost scary, right? To let go and love somebody else. It makes me feel like I'm betraying something. I'm betraying him, even though we're not together. And I don't owe him anything. I'm not responsible for his feelings. And I know I'm doing the right thing as long as I'm honoring mine. And I'm being honest, painfully honest with myself. Because this next chapter, I got a feeling it's pretty good. It's good, and I need it. And I gotta do it without him. I can't do it with him. I can't have his influence, and he cannot have my influence in his life. Sometimes I think to know what you really want, you gotta let go of it completely. You gotta try other things. And you gotta X them out. Boop, boop, boop. To know what you really want sometimes. You know? And it's scary to think that there might be a future in which we are not in each other's lives at all. But I can't control that. And you can't control your situation. And I don't know what you may believe, but I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in God. I believe in the universe. I say God, but it's taken a while for me to come back around to that word, because I think myself, along with a lot of other people, have a lot of trauma when it comes to religious organizations, because they're organizations and they have an agenda. But I understand God differently now, and it's a lot more freeing, and I like using that word. So I give it to God. Because I don't know. But I don't need to know. I'm a human being. I might be a beautiful, wonderful soul in here, but I am human right now. And part of the lesson of this life is to let go, to release knowing. And I have a problem with that. I love to know everything. I love understanding things. I have an obsession sometimes with trying to understand stuff. And I gotta let go. But I have a lot of faith. I have a lot of faith that this chapter, what I'm about to move into, start really building, it's something I've been working on for a long time. And even now, in this current where I am, this is a manifestation of something I've been working on and visualizing for a long time. And not even directly. That's the thing. All these things are indirect. All you gotta do is be honest with yourself. Truly. And just take actions from that honesty. And you won't even believe how things come into your life. You don't even have to do nothing. But you do. But you don't have to do the things you think you do. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to force anything. Everything comes in the right time. I know it because I am constantly proving it. I believe it. And that helps me let go. So if you're feeling in between, you're feeling stuck, you're not ready, fully ready to let go of something, process it. Because I promise you, I've been crying every day. I've been okay, then I've been sad, then I've been okay, then I've been sad, then I've been mad, then I've been sad again, confused. Yeah. But then I felt called in my heart to reach out to him, to tell him to be careful with something that I know he's doing. And that opened the doorway for this really healing conversation that we had. So if you genuinely feel called to do something in your heart, and you feel like you would have to force yourself not to, do the thing. Because it's going to lead you somewhere. And it's going to give you the answers that you want, that you're seeking. Not that you want, that you're seeking. And when you get them, you got to accept them. And then you got to let it go. But don't let your ego stop you. Because if I let my ego stop me from reaching out, I wouldn't have this peace of mind. I wouldn't have this understanding that it's okay. And I wouldn't be okay with just letting it go. With acknowledging the love that is there, in the need to focus on something else. Myself and himself. Because we can't benefit each other's lives right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the truth. And the truth is always going to lead you in the right direction. It's always going to help you. It's not always going to feel good, though. It's going to hurt. Sometimes, at least. But you need it. So, hopefully you can relate to me. Maybe it made you think a little bit about things that you might be holding on to. Things that you might not be allowing yourself to process because it's painful. You know, and you don't want to cry every day, but you might just need to. Maybe, I don't know. But if you are honest with yourself, if you put your ego down, if you can allow yourself to be vulnerable with yourself and other people, people that you need to be vulnerable with, maybe, it could be painful, but you're going to get something really valuable out of that, which is some kind of clarity, which is truth. Truth. And letting it go. Peace. Peace. So I hope that you can all do the right thing for you. I hope that you can all be honest with yourself and just work towards it. Just work towards it. Try. Trying is doing. Trying is doing. Alright? Alright. Thank you for watching. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful day and that this helped you somehow. And that's it. Bye.